Good morning. So I want to talk about pressure. I want to talk about how pressure is an illusion. Pressure is man-made, and we are the only animal that is consistently and constantly under pressure. And it is of our own doing, right? So pressure, we created. Okay, let me start from let me see how I'm going to bring this all, because there's so many different aspects of it that come into play. So as a being, okay, pressure's currency is time. Okay, so we as a species have learned how to segment time. We've learned how to calculate and measure time, and take time and cut it off into chunks, right? So we measure time analytically with our mind. We have this device that is separate from us, that we use our mind to measure time, right? Before we had clocks, the measurement of time was an internal clock. It was a connection to the universe, the seasons, the sun, the moon, the stars. It was our biological connection. We could feel by the weather and by watching the plants where we were, by the sun. We went by the sun in according to what we had to complete in a day before dark, and it always had to do with whatever was relevant in the moment, just like the animals now live. I was just out here on the mountain, and there was, and what brought this up was I was watching the animals, and the animals have no currency. They don't, they get up in the morning and they are in the now. They're not in these time segments. The time segments that we have created do not apply to them. They are running on their own internal clock. The clocks that we run by are completely man-made, and pressure runs on this currency. And if you notice, pressure always is in the future. It's something that is fear-based, and it comes through a perspective of lack. If I don't complete this, then this is going to happen. I'm afraid. So I feel pressure that I have to do something. I have to make this accomplishment, right? And it comes from lack, that if I don't do this, then I'm not going to be worthy. I'm not going to have enough. I'm not going to be respected. Um, Something bad will happen. That's in the fear part, that I won't be able to pay my bills. I understand that's very practical, right, in the world and society that we were born in, but it's very disconnected from the animal species that we are. None of the other animals get up and are constantly and consistently under pressure from when they are born. We were born into a society where we we were born into this. We were born into debt. We have debt to society. You can't just get up in the morning and go out and make a fire and go off and bring, it's very difficult to live that kind of life. You would have to completely detach yourself from society. And in any case, I don't really even know that in most parts of the world that is even really an option anymore, um, because the ecosystem isn't self-supportive anymore because of the over agriculturing that we have been doing as a species, that there are very few ecosystems that are complete and whole. Um, so it could be very madga. And so, hold on, I want to catch that train of thought again, just a minute. Okay, so naturally, there is no pressure in the universe. Everything everything happens divinely, and everything unfolds in the current moment. The current moment is the only moment that exists. It's the only moment. So when we're under constant pressure, it's our own illusion in our mind projecting a future that projecting something into the future that we have to accomplish. And what it does when we're constantly under that pressure is that we're never living in the moment. We have already sold our current time to this uh, um, target that we have created that is in the future, that we have pressure to achieve, to get to complete. The thing is that we build layers on layers on layers, so it's never like we ever arrive to a place of complete calm. We always say, okay, when I finish this, then. But by the time you finish this, there's already 10 more things that are projected into the future that are causing you pressure. So it ends up that you are constantly living your entire life under pressure. And pressure is fear based, pressure is projection of lack. So if I don't do this, I won't be provided for. If I don't do this, then the universe I won't be given what I need in order to survive. And so there is a kind of shifting when you come out of pressure conscious. You can still leave in the future at things that you want to achieve and want to accomplish, because pressure is in itself is not a bad thing. Anything that is in existence comes to serve a purpose. There can be nothing in existence that doesn't come, that isn't divine, and that doesn't come to serve some kind of purpose. But it's our addiction as humanity to be addicted to this pressure. And because we have taken our time, it's like we've disconnected from nature in so many different ways. But also by using only an external clock to calculate ourselves, it kind of disconnects us from the universe all around us and from the natural way of things opening up, from nature, from watching the sun, from watching the stars, from going to sleep from when it's dark and waking up from when it's light. There's a natural course of things that we are kind of disconnected. We make light as bright as day almost at night, and then we stay up hours and hours and hours, whereas by nature, um, there is something that happens in the mind when it becomes darker. You start calming down. It's a natural calming process. Um, and so we have created, so pressure in itself is not a bad thing. Pressure comes, it helps us achieve things. It helps us do accomplishments and have that feeling of accomplishment. It helps us progress throughout our lives and not just sit in place. Because when we can put a target and then feel a little bit of pressure to accomplish that target, it pushes us forward. But it's when we live in that constant pressure is when we're losing our lives, because we are never in the current moment, or when we can't relax into the current moment and allow the current to take us to the natural next step. So pressure can be our friend, but just in the way that much of society is living today are living in constant pressure, which constant pressure means that you are bypassing your life, because your life is happening in this current moment, and this one and this one and this one, and only in the current moment. The current moment is the only moment of power in your life, and it is constantly fluid. You cannot hold on to it. It's you can't stop time, and you can't hold it in place. So the most that you can do is learn how to flow with it. And that's kind of like the whole idea of the spiritual awakening is detaching. And it's just like you can't attach to time, you can't attach to your age, you can't attach to um, really to anything, because change is inevitable and change is happening in every single moment. Evolution is happening every single moment. Everything in existence is in constant movement and constant change. It's in constant evolution. So you cannot hold anything in time. Even if you see something that is solid, there's nothing that is solid. It is in constant perpetual change. So the idea of holding on to something, or somebody especially, the idea of holding on to something and keeping it in place is kind of, going against nature. So this whole spiritual awakening is about detaching from anything outside of you that you lay your hat on, kind of to say. It is not really lay your hat on, and it's not absolute. Again, nothing that I say is absolute. There's so many different layers, and there's so many different truths that all touch the same. This, you can look at any one thing from so many different directions. So I'm just giving a thought about certain subjects. So this whole spiritual awakening is about letting go, release. I keep on hearing the word surrender. Don't attach to anything, because everything is in constant movement. When you try to hold something in place and attach to it, then you are uh, uh, stopping your own growth, but you're also trying to stop the growth of something or somebody. And by doing that, you're causing yourself pain, and you are trying to constrain something and make it smaller and not allow its expansion, trying to hold it in place when the natural course is for it to expand. So you are in pain because you're going against nature. Trying to hold something or somebody in place is going against the natural way that things happen. So that's a quick one on letting go. But with the pressure, is just realizing that pressure is fear-based. You can have some elements of pressure without the fear, right? You can use pressure as a power to um, to project your future, like see where you want to go, as move by way of like moving energy. See where you want to go, and then saying, okay, I want to accomplish this by a certain amount of time, and then go into and then some pressure can be healthy in order to push your life along and to arrive at achievements. But when you live your life by way of life under constant pressure, you're losing out on your life. You're losing out on the current moment, because your mind is always in the future. You're not present in the current moment to allow things to unfold in a natural way. So pressure is an illusion. It's man-made. Its currency is time, and the way that we look at time as a species is external instead of internal. So we can, we are creatures of thought, so we can use the external clock. There's nothing wrong with it, but we also need to make sure that we're connected to our internal clock, which is connected to nature, which goes by um, nature's time. And a good way to get a pure perspective of that is to look at the animals. The animals, they look at a clock, it has no relevance to them. All it is a, a glob of matter on the wall. It means nothing to them. And we are animals, and we also have this natural internal clock and connection to the all that we were kind of taught out of. And during this awakening, the spiritual awakening, we're connecting back to all of these different intuitions and natural talents. And I wouldn't even call it talents, because it's not even a talent. It's just the way that we are, to our nature, connecting back to our own nature as a species, and kind of letting go of all of these constraints that we were taught as children, and grown up under these conditioning, all of our conditioning. And it's not like we can't see our conditioning. We still have the knowledge of it because we have lived it. But when we come out of our shell and we're able to look at it from the top, we're able to also use it as a power to maneuver our ways through and manipulate the matrix. And manipulate, it doesn't have to be a bad word. We're constantly manipulating. We are creators. We're manipulating everything around us. And when you learn how to create through energy, the manipulation is even far grander. It's you manipulate matter through energy. Okay, so I'm starting to go off track here, so I'm going to go ahead and stop this here. I'm doing myself. I'm kind of coming out of the purging. I still feel myself very internal, but I feel a lot better. I feel a lot more let go, and it's like a fog it's like a fog is lifting. It's like a fog is lifting, and everything is so much more colorful and bright. Um, so when we go through these deep, deep purges, we come out the other side in such a way that is um, grand. I feel like so much has changed. That so much has changed. Okay, well, I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you.